For someone today, building a house on their own might not seem too challenging, as long as they have strong skills and the right tools. However, constructing an entire palace single-handedly is almost unimaginable. Yet, 1,200 years ago and again about 100 years ago, two individuals achieved this feat. How they did it remains a mystery to this day. Some scholars believe that this enigma might be tied to the ancient techniques used in constructing the pyramids, one of three architectural wonders that humanity has yet to fully decode. Remarkable similarities have been discovered among these three ancient structures, and most notably, one of these masterpieces, crafted by the only architect whose traces we can still follow, seems to have left behind a key, whether by accident or design. So, what exactly is the secret? Today, let's delve into the lost building techniques of ancient India. Welcome to World Mysteries. On the Deccan Plateau in India, there lies a mysterious complex of caves known as Ellora. Here, over 100 rock-cut caves were meticulously carved into the cliffside, showcasing the architectural brilliance of Buddhism, Hinduism, and Jainism. This cave complex not only serves as a testament to ancient construction techniques but also holds mysteries that remain unsolved to this day. This complex has now been recognized by UNESCO as a World Cultural Heritage Site, with its most notable feature, and the main character, of our story today, being Cave 16. This isn't just an ordinary cave, it's an impressive temple complex dedicated to the worship of Shiva, one of the three principal deities in Hinduism. According to legend, Shiva resides on the sacred Mount Kailasa, which is why this temple is also called the Kailasa Temple. Interestingly, the Kailasa in Hinduism is actually the same sacred mountain in Tibet known as Mount Kailash, often regarded as the spiritual center of the universe. In Buddhist scriptures, it's identified as Mount Meru, the peak where the Buddha and 500 arahants once set foot. If given the chance, we'll delve deeper into this symbolism. The Kailasa Temple spans 40 meters in width, 80 meters in depth, and reaches a height of 32.6 meters. Its magnificent architecture and exquisite sculptures are astonishing, but what truly sets it apart is its unique construction method. Unlike most rock-cut structures, which are carved from the outside in, the Kailasa Temple was chiseled from the top down, transforming a colossal rock into a grand architectural complex. The entire structure resembles a chariot moving forward, a design requiring an almost flawless degree of precision. Even the smallest deviation could have left noticeable imperfections, making such accuracy in construction both remarkable and essential. Inside the Kailasa Temple, no inscriptions or clues remain to indicate who built it or when. Archaeologists estimate that it was completed between the years 756 and 773 Anno Domini during the reign of King Krishna I. The Rashtrakuta dynasty took 18 years to carve and complete this structure. However, this explanation has faced much skepticism due to the astonishing amount of work involved in building the Kailasa Temple. First, the volume of rock that needed to be carved to create this temple was immense. Based on rough calculations, approximately 150,000 cubic meters of basalt rock had to be chiseled out. With each cubic meter of rock weighing about 3 tons, the total volume of rock that needed to be removed and transported out of the site is estimated at around 450,000 tons. If this temple were indeed completed in 18 years, as modern scholars estimate, then the craftsmen would have had to carve and transport around 69 tons of rock each day. This task required not only immense physical effort but also extreme precision, as the temple's structure comprises 3 intricate levels with bridges connecting the towers and platforms. Every component needed to be meticulously planned and executed according to a blueprint, with no room for error, as even the smallest mistake could have rendered the entire structure unusable. While the task of transporting debris could be handled by regular laborers, the carving itself required highly skilled artisans. This raises the question for historians: how did the Deccan region in the 8th century manage to gather such a large number of highly skilled craftsmen to create such an intricate and refined temple? Furthermore, the construction style of this temple is unique, with no precedent or replication anywhere in the architectural history of India, even in the Deccan Plateau. In theory, an architectural style typically forms through exchanges and adaptations between regions. Once established, similar structures would generally appear across different periods and areas. For example, The rock-cut style of the Mogao caves is also seen in other structures like the Yunggong grottos and the Meijishan grottos. Similarly, the dugong bracket system in Taoist architecture is still visible in certain structures today. However, the Kailasa Temple remains the only known example of its style, with no replicas or branches anywhere else. This singularity has attracted the attention of historians, raising numerous questions about the origins and construction techniques used in this extraordinary temple. They discovered a record from a 16th-century Indian author, which recounted the story as follows. Legend has it that, on the Deccan Plateau, there was a king who fell gravely ill. The queen prayed to Lord Shiva for help, vowing that if the god saved her husband, she would build a magnificent temple in his honor. Not only that, but she also pledged to keep a fast, refraining from eating until the temple was completed. After she made this vow, the king miraculously recovered. At this point, the queen was bound to fulfill her promise. The king immediately ordered all the finest craftsmen across the kingdom to come forth. However, the craftsmen informed him that building a temple of such scale and grandeur would take several years. Anxiously, the king exclaimed, "If my queen fasts for a month, her life will be in danger. Can't you work faster?" But the craftsmen shook their heads, explaining that a temple for the gods could not be built hastily. In his despair, a renowned architect named Kailasa, also known as Kailasa Acharya, approached the king and confidently promised that he could complete the temple within a week, allowing the queen to end her fast. Overjoyed, the king accepted and ordered Kailasa to begin immediately. However, he warned that if the architect failed to keep his word, the penalty would be death. Other architects who heard Kailasa's pledge shook their heads, believing he was tempting fate. When they learned that he intended to carve the temple directly into the hard basalt rock, they thought he was utterly insane, assuming they would see him on the execution ground in a week. Yet, 1 week later, Kailasa returned to report that the temple was finished. The king and queen, overwhelmed with joy, rushed to see it. There, on the mountaintop, stood a majestic temple, fulfilling the queen's vow. Her prayers had been answered, and her fast was finally brought to an end. When researching this legend, modern scholars discovered that the architect Kailasa, also known as Kailasa Acharya, might have actually existed and was not merely a mythical figure. Evidence supporting this theory includes an 11th-century inscription found in the Deccan region, mentioning a prestigious family named Kailasa. Indeed, within this family, there was a renowned master architect, though his construction methods remain a mystery. No one knows where his exceptional skills came from, leading the inscription to refer to him as a divine being. Both inside and outside the Kailasa Temple, intricate stone carvings showcase the exceptional craftsmanship of the builders. On the outer walls of the main tower, celestial maidens are depicted as if they are gracefully floating between the columns in the corridor. At the temple's entrance, in small alcoves, are 3 statues of goddesses representing the sacred rivers Ganga, Yamuna, and Sarasvati. These statues are recognized as some of the finest sculptures among ancient Indian deities, perfectly combining elegance, serenity, and liveliness. How did Kailasa manage to integrate complex architectural techniques with such a high level of sculptural artistry so seamlessly? And how did he, alone, complete this vast structure? Unfortunately, there are no records of the construction process, and even Kailasa himself remains a mystery, leaving much of what we know to imagination. Did Kailasa truly build the Kailasa Temple alone? While it cannot be confirmed with certainty, researchers believe that very few people were involved in this project. A work of such monumental scale would typically leave behind countless stories from those who contributed to it. For instance, Qin Shi Huang's Great Wall is documented not only in official history but also in folk tales and accounts from various perspectives. The Kailasa Temple is a masterpiece of both architecture and art. The craftsmen involved would likely have been proud to share stories of their work, such as, "I carved this statue," or "I set that pillar," and recount the hardships of their labor. The temple's construction in the 8th century coincides with the Tang dynasty in China, not so far back in time. By then, materials and tools for recording history were readily available. Unlike the Giza pyramids, it did not suffer from the destruction of historical records like China's Cultural Revolution. Yet, oddly enough, no such stories have been passed down. This lack of accounts makes Kailasa's legend all the more mysterious. Building a monumental stone structure alone is not entirely impossible, as evidenced by the Coral Castle in Florida, USA, constructed in the 20th century by a single man. Coral Castle, located in Homestead, Florida, near Miami, is a popular tourist attraction, especially for newlyweds due to its romantic origins. The creator of Coral Castle, a Latvian immigrant named Edward Leedskalnin, had only completed 4th grade in Latvia. At age 26, he fell deeply in love with a young woman, but the night before their wedding, she told him she couldn't marry him. Heartbroken and devastated, Edward left Latvia to start a new life elsewhere, settling in Florida, where he purchased a 1-acre plot of land for $12. In memory of his lost love, Edward began his legendary project in 1920, building a coral rock garden over 16 years. Using 200 tons of coral rock, with individual stones weighing anywhere from 5 to 58 tons, Edward constructed this massive structure entirely by himself. One might expect such an architect and builder to be a large, powerful man, driven by the strength of love. However, Edward stood only 5 feet tall and weighed a mere 100 pounds, raising questions about how someone of his stature could accomplish such a monumental feat. Strangely, no one knew how he did it. Edward only worked at night, making it impossible for anyone to see how he quarried, transported, and assembled the enormous coral stones. He even posted a sign warning neighbors against spying, stating that if anyone watched him, he would stop working immediately. Adding to the mystery, in 1937, at age 50, Edward decided to move his entire coral garden to a new location closer to Florida's Route 1, where the site would have better access for visitors. He hired a truck driver to help, but wouldn't allow the driver to see him load or unload the stones. Later, the truck driver recalled that every time Edward summoned him, the massive stones were already loaded on the truck, and when they arrived at the destination, he would be asked to take a break. Upon returning, he would find the stones unloaded, as though by magic. The driver mentioned that Edward didn't seem to use any special tools, saying he looked like a wizard missing only a magic wand. At his new site, Edward spent 2 more years moving 900 additional tons of coral rock to expand Coral Castle into the form we see today. In 1940, he opened the castle to the public, charging 10 cents for entry. Edward served as the tour guide, and when reporters asked him how he managed to build the colossal structure alone, he would respond with a mysterious smile, "I have unlocked the secrets of the pyramids. The Egyptians' core secrets are now in my hands." This cryptic answer baffled journalists, as it seemed both a response and a non-answer. Who could truly know how the ancient Egyptians built the pyramids? 10 years passed, and one day, Edward posted a note on the castle gate saying he was going to the hospital. He boarded a bus to the hospital, where he quietly passed away, taking the secrets of Coral Castle's construction with him. With Edward's death, the methods he used to build Coral Castle remained a mystery. Over the next 70 years, many people attempted to uncover his secrets. Neighbors recalled strange tales of his work. One person claimed to have seen Edward using a wooden tripod with a mysterious box on top, but no one knew what the box contained. Another remembered seeing Edward seemingly talking to the stones, murmuring words that made the rocks float into place as if by magic, like a wizard casting a spell. Of course, these stories cannot be verified. Serious researchers have examined the tools Edward left behind, finding only simple instruments like shovels and pickaxes, along with a few crude electromagnetic devices. Yet, even after thorough investigation, no one has been able to determine how Edward, using such basic tools, managed to move stones weighing several tons. The mystery goes even further with subsequent discoveries. It was found that Edward Leedskalnin created a large sundial from stones in the Coral Castle garden. Initially, visitors assumed this was just a decorative piece, but later they were amazed by its precision, with an error margin of less than 5 minutes, far more accurate than most historical sundials, which usually have deviations exceeding 15 minutes. Additionally, Edward constructed a unique telescope aimed at the North Star, weighing over 30 tons. At the top of a large stone sits a round hole with a viewing lens formed by 2 crossed strings. Observing through this telescope was quite special. From a triangular stone in the garden, one could peer through the hole straight at the North Star. The 2 intersecting strings divided the sky into 4 areas, representing the 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. On clear nights, the North Star would appear in different positions, corresponding with the seasons. The point where the strings crossed aligned directly with true north, leaving everyone in awe of Edward's astronomical knowledge, given he had only a fourth-grade education. Many researchers connected Coral Castle's distinct features and realized that its true north-south orientation is also a hallmark of the Great Pyramid of Giza and the Kailasa Temple in India. Another main character in our story today. In the entire Ellora cave complex, only Kailasa Temple aligns precisely like this. Could there be a connection between these structures? Edward once mentioned a principle in his building techniques: magnetic force is life. Some researchers believe that Edward may have grasped ancient knowledge, skillfully harnessing the power of nature, especially the Earth's magnetic field, to achieve these wonders. Considering his creations and his deep understanding of nature's forces, Edward could be seen as Latvia's Nikola Tesla. So, could the brilliant architect of the Kailasa Temple in India have used a similar technology to single-handedly complete such a grand stone monument? What are your thoughts on this theory? Feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll wrap up today's exploration here. If you found this video or any content on world mysteries helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more incredible discoveries. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.